Hello, welcome back to another video. My name is Gemma, and today I technically do have more prize content for you, but we are pivoting to illustrated children's books. So before you click off, if you have a child in your life, a child of your own, a godchild, a niece, a nephew, a grandchild, your mates just popped a kid out, any of these options, then you should probably stick around because I have some great picture book recommendations for you that I think would be fabulous as gifts. Also, if you are participating in the amazing readathon that is Picture This, hosted by Jack at Spread Book Joy and Shelley Swearingen, who, FYI, are two of the absolute loveliest humans on BookTube, then you may want to pick some of these up for that readathon. So, Waterstones, which is a rather large bookshop here in the UK. Every year they do a children's book award, book prize, and they have three categories. There's picture books, young readers and older readers. And as the mother of a 4-year-old, I have for the last 3 years read all 6 of the shortlisted picture books and ranked them for your pleasure, and told you a little bit about them. And I'm doing the same again this year. So 6 books, beautiful picture books. Let's talk about them and I'll tell you which ones I liked the most and which ones I liked the least. Let's start with Incredible Jobs You've Probably Never Heard Of by Natalie Labarre. And this is a non-fiction book, so it's really nice to see a non-fiction on the list. And I would like to preface this video by saying all 6 of these books are fantastic. So though I have ranked them from my least to my most favourite, I would recommend all of them. This one is a non-fiction and it talks about loads of different jobs that kids may never have heard of, probably haven't heard of. Some of them I had never heard of. But it really just opens their imagination to, you don't have to be a doctor or a vet or a firefighter. Those aren't the only options available to you. You can do all of these other things. And I thought it was brilliant for that. The illustrations are nice and simple. My one critique of this is that there is a lot of very small text. It goes into quite a lot of detail on some of these points. And so for me, it meant that it just wasn't really a book designed for children under 5, which is really what I was looking for in a picture book. I would say for children sort of 5 to 9, this would actually be fantastic, especially if they're doing sort of projects at school about different jobs. I think it's got loads of information. It's easily digestible. Just the font size annoyed me slightly and it was a little over wordy in places, but overall a fantastic book. Would recommend for those sort of older ages of children. Next up, we have The Queen Next Door by Marcela, Ferreira and Sally Agar. And this is another beautifully illustrated book, and it follows a little girl who is the queen of her kingdom, and then another queen moves in next door. And there is a little competitiveness going on, and our protagonist queen maybe loses sight of what is important within her kingdom. And we sort of see her journey through that. I think the messaging was lovely. I thought it wasn't too in your face, but it was very clear. And the illustrations were fabulous. I also liked the diversity that was included in this book. I thought that was really, really good. The one criticism I have of this one is that it just felt a little bit like any other children's book that I had read. There wasn't really anything stand out in it for me, but that said, it was a fun read and Charlie and I both enjoyed it. Next up, we have Wolf and Bear by Kate Rolfe, and I would say this is probably one of the ones that was the most beautifully illustrated of the 6. The illustrations of this absolutely float my boat. They are beautiful. I love the sort of blue palette, and in this we're really talking about depression and social isolation, but in a really soft, easy way for children to understand. And it also touches on friendship and how you can support people who are maybe feeling a little blue. And I think that's a really important thing for children to think about and to learn about, and to understand where kindness is required. So yeah, I did really like this one, though I would say it's probably not like a fun bedtime story. So though I think it's a lovely one to read with children and it does have important messaging, it's not sort of an unwinding book. It's really more of a thinking book, so it sort of fits into a little bit of a different category. So yes, but I mean, how stunning are the pictures in this book? Just stunning. Next up we have The Secret Elephant by Ellan Rankin, and I don't know if I've ever read a historical World War picture book, and so that was quite unique for me and I really enjoyed that. This is set in Ireland in a zoo, and we follow an elephant whose zookeeper is going to have to leave our poor little elephant because of the bombs and stuff that are being dropped. But then the zookeeper decides to take the elephant home, the baby elephant. But obviously baby elephants don't stay baby for very long, and so things have to change. But I thought it was a nice story with the backdrop of the war, so people could understand what was happening, but through a very personable story. I loved the simplistic artwork in this. The elephant was beautifully drawn and really made you fall in love with it. So yeah, really enjoyed this one. Highly recommend. Then we come to Whose Dog Is This by Andrew Saunders and Aysha Awwad. So this really speaks to the kind of parent I am, I think, more than to the book. But I appreciate books that have a level of humour in for the adult that is reading them, and this absolutely has this. This little boy's dad comes home one day and finds the house absolutely destroyed and a random dog in the front room, and he is trying to understand from his son, who is potentially telling some tall tales, what has happened. And the dialogue between father and son is just on point, hilarious, loved it all the way through. There's some spy elements in there, and I mean, who can't love a book with a baddie called Dr. Feathers Von Beak? What an excellent name for a baddie. So yeah, if you're looking for something that is going to tickle you as much as your child, then this is absolutely the book for you. And that takes me to the winner of this, the book that we have read so many times now. And that is In the Search for the Giant Arctic Jellyfish by Chloe Savage. Now this book, not only is it stunningly beautiful, I absolutely love the art style in this. The way that the boat is depicted in particular, where you get to see all the different cabins within the boat, is brilliant. And then on many of the pages you have to spot the Arctic jellyfish, which we had an awful lot of fun with. So there are elements of fun throughout this. The story is really fun. It's engaging. It is one of those that encourages interaction from the child, because it says, oh, but I don't think they can spot the jellyfish, can they? And then said child's like, yeah, I can see it, it's right there. So I loved all that. I loved the setting of the Arctic. I think it's, though it's not the first book to set itself in the Arctic, it's very different from a lot of other books that we read, which are set in sort of UK or town type settings, or on Sodor, because we read a lot of books that are Thomas the Tank. So it was a really nice setting. It had a pinch of science and nature and biology within it, which are all topics that I am very interested in, so I like to see them in books. And yeah, we just had a great time with this. It's open-ended, so there's a lot of room for discussion at the end as well. And so yeah, if I were going to pick a book to gift to a child, it would be The Arctic Jellyfish or Whose Dog Is This? Those were my two absolute favourites of the bunch, but as I said, all six were fabulous. So those are the Waterstones Children's Book of the Year shortlist, and that is how I would rank them. I would love to know your thoughts on any of these, if I have convinced you to pick any up. If you don't want to leave a comment, but you want to support my channel with engagement, then leave a sea creature. If there's a jellyfish emoji, I don't know if there is, leave that. But any sea creature would be fine. And I will leave my review of the 6 books from last year over here if you want to even more picture book recommendations. And I will see you all very soon with another one. Bye, guys.